In the sun-drenched city of Cordoba, Spain, a boy named Moses was born in 1135. He would grow up to be known as Moses Maimonides, a towering figure of Jewish thought. His world was one of great learning. The Islamic Golden Age was at its peak. Scholars from different faiths exchanged ideas freely. Maimonides excelled in this vibrant intellectual atmosphere. He studied mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and philosophy. He absorbed the wisdom of ancient Greece and the insights of Islamic thinkers. But it was his Jewish faith that would become his lifelong passion. Maimonides lived during a time of great upheaval for Jews. They faced persecution and forced conversions. Many struggled to reconcile their faith with the challenges of the world. Maimonides felt this tension deeply. He dedicated his life to finding answers. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Philosophy Haven 101. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Like, share, and leave a comment. Maimonides' family fled Spain when he was a teenager to escape religious persecution. They eventually settled in Cairo, Egypt. There, Maimonides became a respected physician, serving even the Sultan himself. But his true calling was scholarship. He wrote extensively on Jewish law, philosophy, and medicine. His most famous work, the Mishneh Torah, is a comprehensive code of Jewish law. It remains a cornerstone of Jewish legal thought to this day. Yet it was his philosophical masterpiece, the Guide for the Perplexed, that cemented his legacy. This book addressed a fundamental challenge of his time: how to reconcile faith and reason. Many believed these were opposing forces leading to doubt and conflict. Maimonides saw a different path. He believed that true faith and true reason could never contradict each other. Imagine looking up at the night sky. The vastness of the universe can be awe-inspiring. It can also be unsettling. How does our small planet, with all its joys and sorrows, fit into this grand scheme? Such questions have puzzled thinkers for millennia. For Maimonides, this was not merely an intellectual exercise, it was a deeply personal quest. He saw many struggling with the same questions. How could the God of the Torah, who performed miracles and spoke to prophets, also be the God of reason and natural law? Some sought refuge in blind faith, rejecting reason altogether. Others abandoned faith, embracing reason as the sole guide. Maimonides believed both extremes were misguided. He offered a third way, a path of reconciliation. Maimonides wrote, "The Guide for the Perplexed," for those wrestling with these very questions. He understood the allure of both faith and reason. He knew the despair of feeling torn between them. His book was a lifeline, offering clarity and guidance. He begins by acknowledging the limitations of human understanding. We are finite beings trying to comprehend an infinite God. Our language, our concepts, are inadequate to fully grasp the divine. This, he argues, is the source of much confusion. We ascribe human qualities to God like anger or jealousy. We interpret Scripture literally, missing its deeper meaning. Maimonides urges us to move beyond this simplistic understanding. He invites us to embrace a more nuanced, metaphorical interpretation of both faith and reason. Section 5. The Language of God. Maimonides recognized that the Torah, like the universe itself, speaks in many languages. There's the language of poetry and myth, appealing to our emotions and imagination. And there's the language of reason and observation, revealing the laws governing the natural world. Both, he argued, are God's languages. They are different ways of understanding the same ultimate reality. The stories of the Torah may not always be literally true, but they contain profound truths about God's nature and our place in the universe. Take, for example, the story of creation. It's not a scientific account of how the universe began. Rather, it's a theological statement about God's power and the goodness of creation. It tells us that the universe is not random or chaotic. It's ordered and purposeful. Section 6. Wrestling with attributes. One of the greatest challenges in reconciling faith and reason is the concept of God's attributes. How can we, with our limited human minds, describe the infinite? How can we say what God is like? Maimonides grappled with this dilemma head-on. He argued that we cannot know God's essence directly. Any attempt to describe God in positive terms such as wise or powerful is ultimately inadequate. These are human concepts that cannot fully encompass the divine. Instead, Maimonides proposed a via negativa, a negative theology. We can approach an understanding of God by saying what God is not. God is not limited by time or space. God is not subject to change or emotion. By negating human limitations, we inch closer to a truer, though always incomplete, understanding of the divine. Section 7. The problem of evil. The existence of evil and suffering in the world is a perennial challenge to faith. If God is all good and all-powerful, why is there so much pain and injustice in the world? Maimonides addressed this question with his characteristic wisdom and sensitivity. He argued that much of the evil we experience is the result of human choices. We have free will, and with that freedom comes the capacity for both good and evil. God does not intervene to prevent every instance of suffering, for that would violate our free will. Furthermore, Maimonides argued that our limited perspective prevents us from grasping the full scope of God's plan. What appears to us as evil may, in the grand scheme of things, serve a greater good. This does not diminish the reality of suffering, but it offers a framework for understanding it within a larger context. Section 8. The eternity of the universe. One of Maimonides' most controversial ideas was his belief in the eternity of the universe. This view, influenced by Aristotle, contradicted the literal interpretation of the creation story. It also challenged the prevailing theological view of his time. Maimonides argued that reason pointed towards an eternal universe. He could find no logical reason why God would create the universe at a particular moment in time. An eternal universe, he believed, was more consistent with God's timeless and unchanging nature. This view sparked heated debate and even accusations of heresy. Yet it demonstrates Maimonides' willingness to follow reason wherever it might lead, even when it challenged traditional interpretations. For him, truth was paramount, whether found in scripture, reason, or the book of nature. Section 9. Maimonides' enduring legacy. Maimonides died in 1204, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire and challenge to this day. He is revered as a towering figure in Jewish thought, a great eagle soaring above the heights of intellectual and spiritual achievement. His influence extends far beyond Judaism. His philosophical insights have resonated with thinkers across faiths and cultures. His emphasis on reason and inquiry helped pave the way for the scientific revolution. His commitment to reconciling faith and reason remains a timeless model for seekers of truth in every generation. Maimonides' message is as relevant today as it was centuries ago. We live in a world where faith and reason are often seen as opposing forces, yet Maimonides reminds us that they are two sides of the same coin. Both are essential for a complete human understanding. Section 10. A guiding light for today. As we face the complexities of the 21st century, Maimonides' call for reconciliation is more urgent than ever. We need both the wisdom of faith and the clarity of reason to navigate the challenges ahead. We need to be open to new discoveries while remaining grounded in our values. The Guide for the Perplexed is not a book of easy answers. It's an invitation to embark on a lifelong journey of exploration and discovery. It's a reminder that the search for truth is itself a sacred calling, and it's a testament to the enduring power of the human mind to grapple with life's biggest questions. So the next time you find yourself gazing up at the night sky, filled with wonder and awe, remember Maimonides. Remember his courage to ask difficult questions, his humility in the face of mystery, and his unwavering belief in the harmony of faith and reason.